The big man Toguro returns with new power and sadly a little bit of a letdown in that he doesn't have any more room to grow. Back when we first saw him, he had 60% strength and he could get 40% stronger. Now he's at max and he seems to be slowing down a little bit, but in no way has the team become weaker. What does the team do now? Well, like Kuwabara can make his sword longer, the team can just make their muscles bigger. Each member has a new character they can use and exploit to their best ability. But is each one better than the last? Well, Karasu kinda gets a little stronger, but one would say he kind of fizzled instead of exploded. His attacks cost way too much to even think of using his team bonus, because that would just make the first attack cost like 4 cards, and that's for 13,000. That's just 1,000 more than the Dragon of the Darkest Flame, and who in their right mind would pay to use that thing? His second attack costs like 6. And an attack that deals 0 damage from the attack power because of how low it is, just 6 isn't worth it. A man who can make explosions that don't hurt is pretty useless. Sure, he deals 2 damage anyway, but he even does it to himself. How does that make it any good or usable? It doesn't. Just stick to the base at Karasu and you'll do fine. As for Bui, he seems like he gets a little bit worse with the defense loss, but that's because he took off that armor and showed his true power and the ability to just get stronger. And that just makes him more of a wall in a sense, because he's just going to continuously gain more defense. He might have lost the axe, which is a 3,000 attack pump, but that's not even that bad. It's not really a drawback because your team power gives you an extra 6,000 if you pitch 2 cards. And as for the last 2 characters, the Toguro brothers, you have the older one, which is now able to actually start attacking and become more of an opposition, because his first attack allows him to draw cards, and the second one you could just discard pretty much everything you don't really need. As for the younger one, well, the younger one got a little bit worse. He did get 1,000 defense, but he needs stuff on your opponent's side to attack, so he could get rid of it so he can use those attacks. And as for their 5th character, Sakyo, at first he looks really bad, and then you confirm that he's actually as bad as you thought he was. Is it good? Well, yeah, just because one character is kind of bad now compared to how it was, younger Toguro, doesn't mean the team got any worse. He just kind of needs to be in an early match so that you can take advantage of the fact that he's going to be smacking people who have items on them. As for the rest of the team, well, they're fairly decent with the upgrades, or just don't use Karasu, pretty much. Aside from a few minor letdowns, the team is still really good. Pros? All that power. Like, you can literally stare at gnats and just make them explode. Cons? Well, younger Toguro and Karasu getting crappier character abilities makes the team slow down in their ability to kind of make gnats explode with the stare. Especially since the gnat would hurt you in the explosion as well with Karasu, or the gnat would need to have some weapon of some sort equipped to him. Teams that will be good against? Well, since younger Toguro now kind of has skills that make him destroy items and stuff, he's good against Genkai as well as Sarayashiki, but the team in a whole can fight weaker teams with no problem. What teams they'll have a problem with? Still Yuritogi. They just put a damper on the whole Hulk Smash abilities of Toguro team in general. The deck, Beatdown, still does relatively the same exact thing. No real new cards or ways to change it up, so still same as it ever was. Big attacks, just like Beatdown, the deck is the same, and with free attacks, it's just like the ones before it. Free attacks is pretty much the same as the last time. How does it work? Well, there's no real way to set up. Just go with what feels right. Since Toguro doesn't have a specific thing he does best anymore aside from discarding items, he doesn't really have a spot, and Karasu no longer heals items, so he wouldn't have a spot either unless you're using him in the first one. Then I guess he'd go in match 2 because, or just after Toguro, because you're going to be discarding the items, and if the opponent doesn't have any, you need to discard one anyway, so Karasu is there to heal your items. So there's no real way to put them, so there's no real way for me to tell you. In conclusion, in the first set, Toguro was up there, but with the second set, he's kind of slowed down a little. Does that make it bad? Well, not really, no. I mean, the team has a good ability to where when they hit hard, they'll hit even harder, and when they hit, it's just going to hurt regardless. Just hope that it's a team of gnats, and the game will be really easy for you.